Hello everyone. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be doing an interview pretty much. And today we have KK.
Hello.
Oh, KK.
Hello, everyone.
So basically what's about to happen is KK has no idea of a particular topic that I have in mind for us to speak about. So he doesn't have a clue, and we're just going to talk about this topic. So before we start, what do you think the topic is, KK, that you think I would feel comfortable in talk with you?
I'm wondering if it's about motivation or training or something like that. She always asking me, like, as a friend, like, what I'm up to and why am I not training? So I'm like, I'm wondering, is it something like that, like motivation or something?
Oh, you were close.
Oh,
You
it
were
is exactly that.
yeah, pretty much. So my topic for you is UFC training and just anything that deals with working out, basically. Um,
Okay. Okay.
yeah. So the first thing I was gonna ask was because we both have a similar interest when it comes to UFC and stuff like that. So we're like really into that stuff. So what made you get into that to begin with?
Into MMA. So when I was younger, I used to do some martial arts. Just there was friends I had who were into it. Like we'd do Shotokan karate, and I'd stick to it for a while, and then I kind of left, and then just beat myself up because I actually felt great doing it. And then a few years passed, and then I was in college, and I was doing like more like martial arts, judo, boxing, just to keep fit. Just because I always had this, I don't know, just like an interest in kind of combat sports, but I never like delved too far into it because I just felt it was always just like you know, like school gym style kind of sports where like it's stuck there and there's no entertainment side of it. And then one day I'm playing a UFC game called Undisputed 2009 or something like that on the PS3, I think it was. And I thought it was amazing. Like it was just like, it was this different world of fighting. I couldn't understand half of it, but I think through that I started watching mixed martial arts and
Really?
yeah. And then so I slowly started like building an interest there from
Oh.
from that, yeah, because
The game.
it was
Oh,
very
you see,
different.
that's so weird because like some of the people that I know who are into UFC, it wasn't actually um like a game. It was more uh at least 90% of the people I know. It was because we watched wrestling, and through
Yeah,
wrestling, we like SmackDown Live or Raw and
yeah,
whatever. Well, at the time it wasn't called SmackDown Live, but we would see stuff like that. So then I remember for me, I would think it was my first second year of college. I had started working out for the first time, and I was like really into it. And even though I was like pretty much bad at it at the beginning, I started doing things like boxing and
oh,
just random little things just for fun to keep fit and stuff. And then my brother was like, "Hey, watch this fight real quick." And I don't remember who the fight was between because
fine.
I honestly I don't remember. I think
Yeah,
one
yeah.
of the two people was definitely Jose Aldo.
Yeah.
And at the time he was like
Oh,
the best
really?
in yeah, like he was the best in his division. He was the champ. And it was that's during the time that happened. And then I was like, "Oh,
Because
this is pretty cool." So that's how
all
I
his
got
early
into
fights
it.
were in like WEC, like I think. So you would actually seen like before the UFC was even big, you would have seen like the smaller promotions and stuff like that.
Yeah, probably. But like the UFC's been around for a while. Like
Oh, yeah, years.
and the first like one of the very first fights I've seen, like when I looked it up after I already knew what it was, they were like bare knuckle fighting. Like there were certain things you
Oh,
could
really?
do, yeah, that you can't do now. Like they could use their
Oh,
heads.
yeah. UFC
Like
1 to UFC like 10 was just
yeah,
like
it was
you
just
didn't have
fucking brutal,
gloves.
dude.
You could wear shoes,
Yeah,
wrestling shoes. I think it was like specialized. And a lot of them had attires on like jiu-jitsu gis and
yeah.
t-shirts and yeah, it was like I think it was a different sport back then. Like it really was kind of seen as human cockfighting back then because the it wasn't really regulated enough to kind of have set rules in place to make it a sport per
Yeah,
se.
that
It
thing
did,
was
it did
fucking.
feel very barbaric, like, but it still is in a way. Like it's very like
Well,
a
it's
lot of
more
people are very
technical.
self-conscious of that.
It's more
Yeah.
technical because I know like there's times where like think about it. If in training just yourself, right? Like when you go to the gym and you do
Yeah.
your thing and you do stuff, there's certain things that you have in mind, certain rules that you can't do, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and the first UFCs, it was like there are no fucking rules. Like there were tiny bits of specs and stuff, like not poking in the eyes and stuff like that, or shit like
Well,
that.
here's the interesting thing. They did a train, right, for UFC 1. So, like, how do you train cock strikes? How do you train, like, eye gouging? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like, I think a lot of that stuff as well was, like, they do their training as normal and they probably have a set, like, a lot of heavy bag stuff and a lot of,
Yeah.
like, partner training, drilling and whatever. But then when it actually got to the fight, it was like, look, anything goes. Just throw half your training out the window. Eye gouging. It's
No,
just
but you
like,
see,
I
but
haven't even
that's the
trained this.
thing. It's like training for like if I think about it in the sense of a fighter, right? A
Yeah.
fighter can do whatever the fuck he wants, you know?
Yeah.
Besides the fact that maybe they don't really use a tool, and even then, fighters outside in real life use tools, whatever that might be. So when you get put into a ring like that, like what's stopping you from kicking someone in the nuts or, slamming them on their head, doing whatever it is you have to do to win the fight? So that's how I saw
Yeah.
it. But that changed when it's like, oh, you can't kick while they're down. You have to wear these
Yeah.
gloves now. You can't headbutt like this
What,
or
what
whatever.
what's interesting is different promotions have different rules. So like a smaller promotion, like well, the UFC allows so much like elbows and guard and stuff. A lot of places are like, look, when you go to the ground, no striking. You can't kick
Yeah.
it, get down the opponent's shin. You're not allowed to chop the leg behind the heel or heel
Exactly.
hooks are illegal or something. Like I think like a lot of mat fights used to have years ago was like look they'd walk you through the rules beforehand, blah blah blah, and then it'll actually change your game. So you'd be like thinking, right, I'm going to go and triangle choke this guy, like then like, but then you're like, right, well, I'm not allowed like go for a heel hook. I'm not allowed like so if he breaks out and the heel's available, I'm going to have to do something else. Like I think I remember like I think it was like some amateur striking match, and it was like I'm pretty sure I got disqualified from it.
Well, you see, even
Yeah,
even then, like there weren't even like divisions, as many divisions as there are now, like weight divisions,
yeah, pretty
and
much.
the heavyweight division was scary. Like if you see some of them shits, dude, it's it's brutal.
Well,
But
like Pride used to have like open weight, and it was like it used to be kind of well UFC one and all that used to be just like general weight. There was no weight classes,
yeah,
but like I always said, like it'd be interesting to see an open weight division because in the video games, I always like the idea that there'd be an open weight champion, which I would class as the best champion in the world because heavyweights are limited to fight heavyweights. Like the guy has to go up and be heavy. But like there was always the room for saying, well, there's some guys who can probably weigh less and do better,
yeah.
Obviously I know like a lightweight guy is probably going to do a lot worse against the heavyweight guys in this day and age, but it'd be interesting to see kind of like a weight division that's dedicated to people who want to compete with weight not in mind and really test their limits
No,
because like
I know what you mean. Like those things to me is I don't know. I've thought about those things, and it's a little crazy because like imagine a heavyweight dude, right, fighting someone who's a featherweight. like like
I
can
mean
you
yeah
imagine like the oh my god, that dude would get destroyed if he wasn't like that good of a fighter. If he was just an average featherweight against an average heavyweight, the
yeah.
heavyweight would destroy him.
Well, like yeah, the weight does play a huge advantage in fairness. So the skill, like, so from a business standpoint as well for the UFC and some other big companies like Bellator, it's necessary to have the weight division for professionalism, but
Of
also
course,
because like it allows everybody to kind of shine in different weight classes.
there's
So you can have
fairness
all
in the
these
fight, I
big,
guess.
yeah. Like think about it. If it was only open weight, you'd have like six guys in the top and the rest are all
Oh
thin
hell yeah.
guys, and it probably makes some of the smaller fighters like look probably
Garbage.
like they'd probably never win it. Like picture someone like I'm trying to think of an example. Let's just say Sean O'Malley, 'cause he lost recently there against Marlon Vera. So like it's bad enough losing hype in that sense, but like imagine like being undefeated and then you go against Stipe Miocic or something,
I've always thought of
the
a fight.
Francis Ngannou's.
I've always thought of a fight between Mighty Mouse and Francis Ngannou.
You can do
Even
that in the
though
game.
that would never happen, but can you imagine Mighty Mouse fighting Francis? Like that would be some
Now
scary shit.
I know this sounds silly, but like I actually think Demetrius Johnson would do pretty well in a fight against a heavyweight guy. I've seen like I think I know this guy wasn't a heavyweight fighter, but he was a heavyweight guy, and he came down talking trash to I think it was Dominic Cruz's gym, and Dominic Cruz just took him down, got him in half guard, started milling him, knocked him out. Yeah, so like I think if a guy has a very good skill and he can utilize that, he can work on a lot of people.
Yeah.
Um, but then you got guys like I think Derek Lewis, whose neck's so big that heavyweights can't even strangle him out. Do you know what I
True.
mean? Like, so there's aspects to the game where you need to like you'll only learn through training. You'll only learn through scenario sense. That's something you never really see. Like if a gym says, look, we're going to actually train specific scenarios. So let's just say, for instance, one of your legs are gone. We're going to train. You're not allowed to use your left leg now. We're going to pretend your leg's broken. So you're going to have to like train on one leg. I want to see you fight and try and overcome this adversity with a limited arsenal. You never see gyms doing that. And like the amount of
That's
time
true.
injuries happen in fights and they're like, they never take into the aspects of the most common ones and
Well,
approach it accordingly.
mentioning gyms now, the next question for you is, so what do you believe motivates you to go to the gym just to work out, or the training classes that you take and stuff like that? What makes you want to go?
So for me, it's like, I've always had this like love hate for like training. And I think it's because I always have this thing about leaving my house in general. I'm very like housebound and I'm very self-aware of that. And it's a barrier I'm trying to break because I'm so used to kind of a routine I have set where I'm kind of like, I'll game, I'll do work on my computer and I'm happy with that. I hate driving and then getting out and actually like getting back out into the gym, getting yourself into a scenario where you're saying, right, I have to spend an hour and a half here. I have to do that for the rest of my life every second day, every week or whatever. Like, so I think it's a mental barrier to have to be broken sometimes. Well, for me, to be able to kind of go back down. But what motivates me is actually the result. So it's the mindset I get after it. It's the feeling you get for the endorphins release stuff of how well you feel, how good it is.
Even if you're
And
the one getting
then
beat up?
yeah, well, like it's learning curve. Yeah, and I like learning. Like I like learning the sport. I like it feels good to be in like a dogfight scenario,
Yeah,
sparring
you
or
see,
jiu-jitsu,
when you say that,
learning.
that's what I assumed you kind of thought of, because like there's
Yeah,
times where like when I first started boxing, right? Um, when I took my very first boxing class, is not anything of what I expected, because I would thought that it was like, oh, we're gonna start learning striking immediately. I was gonna start punching things and this and that, and for like the
yeah, yeah,
first half an hour, it's just pure muscle training. It was like
yeah.
we did a bunch of sit-ups and pull-ups and push-ups and doing jump rope and stuff like that, and like learning basic stand poses and things like that. And it was just like, what the crap? And I hadn't even thrown a punch yet, dude. And I was already sweating my ass off and
Just
like
skipping
so much
class.
pain. And then the teacher was like, all right, guys, get your gloves and your mats. And I'm like, wait, what? Like,
And you're
yeah,
like
go
really
get them.
tired.
And I'm already like burnt out. And they were like, yeah, that was the fucking warm up. And I'm like, oh my fucking, this is fucking bullshit.
Uh, I just returned training there recently after like a long hiatus because of COVID and that. Like they had the gym
Yeah.
closed and the first class back they were like, all right, 3 rounds of shadow boxing. So like, yeah, no worries. So, I'm throwing all these combinations, really letting it all go. And then I'm like, but I knew that was the warm up. Like, do you know what I mean? Like I knew he
Yeah.
was going to then say, right now, 20 sit-ups, 20 push-ups, 20 blah, blah, and then grab the pads and hold them for someone or strike on them. And then at the end it's sparring. So it's like, yeah, I was tired. By the time I had to hold the pads for someone, like barely keep my arms up. I was that tired from like just it's been so long. Like, but a lot of
Oh
people like
yeah. But I mean,
I've
you've
done it
done it for
professionally.
for a while now that it's starting to become muscle memory for you at this point.
Yeah, yeah. Like I'll always like I can always be tired and push past. My thing with fighting, I think, was I have like a second and third wind. I get so it's like I can be tired and look tired, but I'll still keep pushing forward.
Yeah.
But it's not much like power left behind it. But it's all volume, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
But you see, sometimes I think like when I did that, one of the main things also that I did with my brother, for example, is it was just going to the gym. Like I didn't do classes of any type of stuff, whether it was
yeah,
boxing, karate, MMA, whatever. I didn't do any of that stuff when you first start. Well, for me anyways. And when we first started, it was just going to the gym, getting used to a routine, getting motivated to just wake up in the morning and actually just go. Because I think the hardest thing for
Yeah,
anybody is just doing it. you know. But once
starting.
you're doing it, it's not that hard anymore. You're just doing it. You're in the zone. You're doing something you probably enjoy doing, whether it's cardio,
Yeah,
you know, weight training, whatever it is, or even just taking a class, whatever. It's all the same thing to me. People who do yoga, Pilates, stuff like that, it's the same thing. You're telling yourself move, you know, to wake
yeah,
up and get your mind prepared for something, that's good for you. And I think like I said before, the hardest part is just doing it because a lot of people get demotivated because they're like, oh, I don't want to get up. I don't want to do this. I don't want to sweat. I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to walk over there. I don't want to drive over there. And there's just so many things that are blocking you from doing something that can be good for you
yeah.
when it's the
I
simplest thing, and yet it's the most simplest thing is the difficult.
yeah. I I think for me as well, it was like reminding myself that like I don't need to do this as a career because like it was always like anything I do, it needs to either make me money or it needs to have a production value. It needs to
Oh
add to
yeah,
my life in a way that results in moving forward with what I want to do, which is like moving out and
that's very
getting a
true.
house. And so like it's kind of like I was like it got to the stage where I'm like I'm wasting my time here doing this. Like I already feel good. Why am I learning all these techniques that like the reality is I'm never going to really um, fight, I'm never going to want to use or want to, like I was like under the impression I don't want to be in a big scrap in real life, knocking
Yeah.
people out or maybe and getting paid for it to what apparently in the UFC's class is a minimum wage job in some regards to some fighters. I think I'm more so just like appreciating though the fact that I have the option, do you know? It's like, look, if you want to put
Oh,
in
of
the hard work,
course.
you can, but you can also do this, and it doesn't have to make you money. Like it's the reality that like the muscle memory will remain there for if you ever have to use it, or you'll just be able to help other people in this lifetime who would want your skill that you've learned to,
You
to
see,
make their journey a bit easier.
yeah, and from what going off of what you said, like a lot of times, I think for me when I first started doing this, it felt like work. It was like, oh, I gotta do this because I gotta do this. It wasn't because
Yeah,
I wanted to or because it was fun or it was good for me or any of that stuff. At the beginning, it just felt like it was just I have to do it because I know it's good, but I have to do it. It's just a
yeah,
weird it was just a weird thought process. But that being said, when it comes to uh, working out, meditating, the mixed martial arts, any of that stuff, a lot of it is just for your own well-being, your mental state. You know, martial arts in its
absolutely.
core is like it's supposed to be so that you can defend yourself, not use it for violence. Like MMA is great
Yeah,
and all, or whatever, but deep down it's supposed to be just defend yourself. So even if you're
yeah,
not doing it as a profession, it's not a bad thing to learn. You know, the same thing with
absolutely.
training. Like you have 24 hours in a day, and all you need is what 30 minutes, an hour for you to just motivate yourself to do, a simple workout.
Yeah.
And
I,
some people don't do it, and that's fine. But there's other things you can do that are productive that could help, with whatever it is that you might be going through. If you just want to do something productive, you don't know what that is. Try running, try going outside for a
yeah.
walk, go to the park, go to the gym if
The
you're
the
motivated to go.
walking part is huge as well because I know a lot of people who like they don't have it in them to even like lift a weight or they feel like their muscles are so weakened from years of just staying in that they like it'll tear too easy. And walking is like the safest thing they could do to not only lose weight but like help their mind.
Yeah, for
But a
sure.
lot of people would also complain about their like area being dangerous and they don't want to walk there. And it's like
Yeah, of
so
course.
sometimes excuses are always embedded.
Well, oh
But
yeah, oh
it's
my God.
completely understandable. It's completely understandable from so many people's different backgrounds. I would say that a solution could be to like, I actually am trying to think of one.
Well,
I guess it's kind of like walking somewhere else. It could be like if you could drive somewhere and go for a walk somewhere safer or like,
yeah,
um, just really like take advantage of whatever you can that can be um a helpful scenario, you know,
Yeah.
like be it like you might find like, oh, I have a Wii Fit board. That's jumping jacks for 10 minutes. You know, there's apps on your phone now that just like not only to help you meditate, but also to
Of
train
course.
like a dog at home. You don't even need a gym. You don't have to spend money to do this. But like it's the comfort zone. It's saying like, well, am I even comfortable doing this at home in my room? You
Yeah.
know,
No, for sure. And sometimes I think, all right, so like if anybody is listening to this, just just in case,
anyone.
if anyone is listening to this, this is motivation could be literally anything. Like for us, for me and KK, sometimes it's just getting out of the house. Whether it's going to the gym, taking a walk, going for a drive, whatever it is, motivation can literally be anything. It could just be you wanting to learn a new skill on your computer. It could be you playing the guitar, you know, anything. It could be anything. And the motivation comes from just the fact that you want to learn it and you want to see the progress. And for some people, it might not even be that. It could be something completely different, But the whole point is that, hopefully you can do it. Like even if you can't at the beginning, you just start. You got to start somewhere. And
Well, that's the thing. Like, you know, the way you're saying about motivation, like the different, like, because it doesn't just have to be training. It can be, as you said, it can be motivation for like learning a hobby or a skill. But like, I've went through so many different hobbies. I went through so many different like starts and proceeded to like get to the next level of so many different things. And a lot of stuff I've actually stopped just because I take on too much stuff, or maybe I'm like the self doubt kicks in, or I say that maybe this isn't for me. And it's
yeah,
okay to fail. It's okay to accept like to say to yourself, look, but this isn't for me, or it's okay to feel that way and then leave it for ages and come back to it.
yeah. I
It's
mean,
important to just self-analyze what you want
exactly.
for a
And
time.
and you won't know that until you try things. And one minute you could be at home doing some push-ups and you find that, oh, that was good, that felt good. Or you'll tell yourself, you know what, I didn't like that. That kind of sucked. And then you were like, you know what, let's try
Yeah.
cooking. Let's try learning Photoshop. Let's try, doing whatever it
Love
is.
Pasha.
And at some point, you're gonna find that one thing that, you're like, oh, this is cool. And the motivation is just gonna come from the fact that you just want to do it now. You're like, you liked how it felt the first time, or maybe you didn't like how it felt the first time, and you want to make it feel good for you. Who knows? It all just depends. So like when it came to working out, my main motivation was wanting to be fit and having my brother there who was able to like guide me through my first steps of how to do certain exercises. Just to going outside to take a walk and being able to do things. That plus I also had two dogs. So I liked going outside and
I love
walking with
those.
my dogs. So, it became a little easier the more, I did whatever it is I wanted to do. And in this
Yeah.
case, it was, working out, doing all the stuff, whatever it is. And that being said, like your career path, you could be a student right now listening to. You could be somebody who's
Yeah.
already in a career. You could be somebody who's doing something that you probably don't even like, you probably love. It doesn't matter. The whole point of this is that sometimes we lack that motivation to do whatever it is we want to do. And it's like KK said, it's just a mental barrier that you kind of have to break, even if it's just little by little.
I will add that also it's like never too late, because some people feel like, oh, I'm like 43, I can never be a world champion at blah blah blah, or an actor, or and I'll say there's so many examples if you look online of people who have come on from the gutter and just made for themselves, and they're not
Hell
just
yeah.
one-off things. I'll get like, I think Robert Downey Jr. was in jail 10 years before he
Yeah.
became Iron Man.
Dwayne The Rock
So
Johnson was like poor when he first came to the country, something like that.
yeah,
Sylvester Stallone, freaking, there's a lot of people. There's
Arnie,
names and names we can, mention.
yeah. How
People
many people like
motivate themselves
sleep
when
in a
they have
car for
nothing.
months and then they
Hell
become
yeah.
something?
A lot of the time motivation is when you have nothing to and you gotta
Yeah.
get something.
Well, it drives you to want to have better. Like, and it's like you feel like you deserve more because you feel like, well, you're looking at everyone around you and they're in better positions and you're saying, you know what, it's my turn. I'm going to work towards this. They'll all frickin' see. And that sometimes it takes that. Sometimes it takes hitting rock bottom to,
Yeah, of
get back
course.
up.
And sometimes it's the reversal of that where, you could have a decent life. You don't have to be rich or famous. I mean, maybe you are, I don't know. But let's say you're like living a decent life, but for whatever reason, you're not motivated to do anything, whether it's something productive at home, working out, doing your job, whatever it is. You know, sometimes we lack that motivation, and in that sense, you gotta take a step back and just, you know, examine yourself and what you're doing with your life, you know, and maybe just make little minor adjustments. And, you know, that's kind of something I had to do when I, you know, first
Yeah,
started college, but thinking about my career choice, wanting what I wanted to do. Little minor
and
changes tends some.
it helps having people in your life that can motivate and pick you up, because like sometimes
Yeah, for
people can
sure.
push it down or be like, oh, that's a stupid idea, don't do that. So it helps kind of having surround yourself with people who are also like success driven or have motivation factors, and having a self-check now and again, like as you said, like the meditating part of it is all about focusing on yourself from head to toe and saying, all right, how do I feel today? Or let's
Exactly.
check. Okay, get to your head. I feel a bit foggy, mate. Might need to sleep. You scan down. You're saying, all right, my left leg feels a little sore. Oh, because I trained earlier, leg day. So maybe I can go easy today now. Maybe I like wait till Wednesday and do something, or
Some
next week.
people, they don't even eat. Like they forget to eat because they're so busy trying to do work or even have a glass of water. They're like, oh no, I'm too busy. There's no time to eat. Like I've known people like that, and
Yeah.
that's a little crazy to me. It's like you gotta eat, dude.
Or they don't sleep.
You gotta,
They're
you
like, I'm
know,
not
breathe.
sleeping. I have stuff to do. You want me to sleep? I have to do stuff.
Yeah, it's like you gotta sleep too so you can continue to do your stuff. It's just many things. But anyways, yeah. So my last question here then is gonna be, how do you feel about stonks?
Stonks. Oh, that's a completely different
No, no, I'm just joking.
realm from
Okay, don't worry
training.
about it.
A joke.
No, me and Cake are also into like stocks and stuff, guys. But that's a whole different topic for a whole different day. But anyways, yeah,
Yeah,
that's pretty much my two main questions for uh, this particular interview when it comes to UFC motivation, training, stuff like that. Anyways,
yeah,
if anybody is watching, like us or hearing, I should say, thank you guys so much for listening in. I hope you enjoyed that. KK, do you have any final words before we go?
yeah. If you watch this and thought like, oh, they think UFC is MMA, I will add that I know that UFC is an organization and MMA training is
Oh
not
my god.
UFC. However, I will say that
I think
I
they
wanted to
got
save
it.
it till the end, so the true people who got to the end can destroy the like button. And
Yes,
hopefully we can do more of these, because if you find it interesting, I'm sure Charles will to make more of these,
for sure.
and we can cover different topics for other days. And hopefully I'll see you again at some stage.
Yep. Thank you guys. Bye bye.
Thank you. All the best.